The rain came down in relentless sheets, drenching the North Carolina night and transforming the familiar landscape into a world of shifting shadows and uncertainty. Every tree and signpost blurred behind a curtain of water, and the only sounds were the steady drumming of rain and the distant rumble of thunder. Along Highway 18, headlights sliced through the storm, their beams flickering across the slick, empty road. Drivers gripped their steering wheels, focused on the treacherous conditions, never expecting to see anything but darkness and rain. But on this night, something unimaginable appeared. There, illuminated for a moment in the glare, was a small girl in a white dress, her hair plastered to her face by the wind and rain. She walked alone, her figure fragile and out of place, as if she had stepped out of a dream or a nightmare. Truck drivers would later recall the sight with a chill, describing her as a haunting figure balanced on the painted line, her presence both unmistakable and surreal in the storm's chaos. One driver, Jeff Rapp, couldn't shake the image from his mind. He circled back, heart pounding, determined to help the child he'd seen. The rain hammered his windshield as he searched the roadside, hoping he wasn't too late. As he slowed his truck, headlights sweeping the shoulder, the girl seemed to panic. In a flash, she darted off the road, vanishing into the dense, rain-soaked woods. Within seconds, she was gone, swallowed by the darkness and the storm. The forest closed behind her, leaving only the echo of her footsteps and a sense of dread. She was gone, swallowed by darkness, leaving behind a trail of questions and fear. Who was this mysterious girl, wandering alone in the storm? What was she running from, and why was she out there so far from home in the dead of night? Those who glimpsed her that night would be the last to see her alive. Their memories became the final pieces of a puzzle, the last living witnesses to the fate of Asha Degree. The storm eventually faded, but the haunting image of the girl on the highway lingered in the minds of all who saw her, a silent scream lost to the night, echoing through the years, demanding answers that never came. February 14, 2000, began like any other for the Degree family. The house was filled with the usual morning routines, breakfast being prepared, sleepy children getting ready for school, and the comforting sense of normalcy that comes with a loving home. No one could have imagined the heartbreak that was about to unfold. Asha Degree went to wake her children, but Asha's bed was empty. The covers were pulled back neatly, as if she had simply slipped out quietly in the night. At first, there was confusion. Maybe she was hiding, maybe in the bathroom. The family called out her name, hoping to hear her familiar voice answer back. Harold and Asha searched every corner, opening closets, looking under beds, checking every possible hiding spot. But Asha was nowhere to be found, and panic began to set in. Fear set in. The doors were locked. Asha, afraid of the dark, would never leave alone. The thought of her venturing out into the night was unthinkable for her parents. At 6:30 a.m., Asha called the police, her voice trembling as she explained, "My daughter is missing." The reality of the situation was sinking in, and every second felt like an eternity. The news spread quickly. A little girl vanished from her own bed without a trace. Neighbors gathered, flyers were printed, and the community braced itself for the worst. Law enforcement arrived, turning the home into a crime scene. Officers moved swiftly, searching for any clue that might explain Asha's disappearance. No note, no struggle, no broken window. Everything in Asha's room was just as it had been the night before, untouched and eerily calm. It was as if Asha had simply disappeared into the stormy night. The Valentine's Day nightmare had begun, leaving a family and a community desperate for answers, and a little girl lost in the darkness. FBI joined, interviewing everyone who knew Asha. Despite the massive effort, there was no scent, no trail, no sign. The woods were silent, the highway empty. Asha Degree had vanished. The search became a national story, but hope was fading. Days passed and hope dimmed until the first clues emerged. Truck drivers reported seeing Asha walking along Highway 18 between 3:30 and 4:15 a.m. Investigators confirmed the sightings, but the location was over a mile from her home. For a child afraid of the dark, it made no sense. Then, candy wrappers, her favorite, were found in a nearby shed. Did she stop there? Was someone with her? The wrappers were a link to Asha, but only deepened the mystery. The community held vigils, clinging to hope. The clues were breadcrumbs, but the trail vanished into darkness. 18 months after Asha vanished, a construction worker made a startling discovery in Burke County, nearly 26 miles north of Shelby. While clearing brush along a remote stretch of land, his shovel struck something unexpected: a black Tweety Bird backpack, half buried beneath layers of dirt and leaves. The area was thick with trees, far from any main road, and the find sent a chill through everyone involved. Inside the backpack were items that could only belong to a child: Asha's Dr. Seuss book, a New Kids on the Block t-shirt, and other small personal effects. These were the same things she'd packed the night she disappeared, now preserved as haunting reminders of her innocence. The bag itself had been carefully wrapped in plastic, as if someone wanted to protect its contents from the elements, or from being found too soon. It was clear this was no accident. Someone had gone to great lengths to hide it. The location raised even more questions. How did Asha's backpack end up so far from where she was last seen, and in the opposite direction from her home? The distance was significant, and the route was isolated. For a 9-year-old girl, traveling that distance alone, especially at night, would have been nearly impossible. The terrain was rough, the roads deserted, and the weather that night had been stormy. Someone else had to be involved, someone who not only took Asha's belongings but deliberately tried to hide them, hoping they'd never be found. The act was calculated, and it pointed to a disturbing truth. The discovery forced investigators to reconsider everything. What began as a search for a runaway child now looked more like a carefully planned abduction. The FBI and local authorities pored over every detail, analyzing the backpack and its contents for fingerprints, fibers, or any clue that might reveal who had buried it. Each item was a potential lead, a thread that could unravel the mystery. The backpack became a chilling symbol, a silent message that Asha's disappearance was no accident. It was a deliberate act, meant to mislead or perhaps to taunt those searching for her. With this discovery, the case transformed into a haunting mystery of foul play, leaving investigators and Asha's family desperate for answers that still remain out of reach. Theories swirled around Asha's disappearance. Did she run away, upset over a basketball game or a secret worry? Or was she lured out by someone she trusted, then abducted on the highway? Some believe she left voluntarily, only to encounter danger along the way. The buried backpack pointed to a deliberate cover-up. Decades later, no theory has been proven. Was it a runaway, an abduction, or a tragic accident? The truth remains hidden, as elusive as Asha herself. Today, more than 25 years later, Asha's family still waits. The missing posters have faded, but her memory endures. Forever 9, forever lost on a stormy night. Harold and Asha Degree keep her room unchanged, a promise that hope remains. Every year they renew their plea for answers, their love undiminished by time. The investigation continues with new leads and a standing reward. In 2018, a possible sighting of Asha getting into a green 1970s car brought fresh hope. The case is not forgotten. A family, a community, and a nation still seek the truth. Asha's story is a call to action. Share her photo, share her story. Someone knows what happened. Be the voice she no longer has. Help bring Asha home.